words, we are the ones we've been waiting for. It's like coming home to friends. It's like coming home to a family. It's like a global family that we are discovering. We are many colors. We are many languages. We are many religions. We are what democracy looks like. And we are discovering the power that we have that will not be stopped. In the words of Alice Walker, the biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. Bernie or bust knows that we have the power and we are not going away. I thank you. America thanks you. The people of the world thank you for lifting up a whole new vision of our future. This vision has been brewing in the grassroots for decades. In the fight to end police violence and for racial justice. In the fight for climate justice and to end environmental racism. In the fight to cancel the pipelines that they have built and that they are trying to build all over this country and all around the world. We say no to all new pipelines. This movement has been brewing in the fight for $15 an hour minimum wage, and it goes up from there. Because if we were adjusting the minimum wage from 1960s to today, if we adjusted according to the productivity of the workforce, we would now have a minimum wage of $20 and more. So we start at 15 and we go up from there. And it's not only a minimum wage, we also need a job to go with that wage. We are calling for the right to a job, a good job for every person in this country. We can do that. It's a basic economic human right. During the Great Depression, we created a New Deal that put millions of people back to work. We are calling now, again, for an emergency Green New Deal. We can end unemployment. We can end the problem of low-wage, part-time, and temporary jobs that the new economy has become. We call for full-time, living wage, high-quality jobs for everyone as a human right. It's not rocket science how to do this. In the same way that we created a New Deal to get us out of the Great Depression, we can create a Green New Deal to end this economic emergency that still prevails at the same time that we end the crisis of the climate. We can fix them both at once. They are both emergencies that we must end now. And in creating 20 million full-time good wage jobs, we are also calling for 100% clean, renewable energy by 2030. In time, in plenty of time to turn back this crisis of the climate. We can't do it with renewable electricity by 2030 or 2050, we need 100% clean renewable energy, and that means an immediate ban on all new fossil fuel and nuclear infrastructure starting now. And when we move to this green energy system, a healthy, sustainable food system, imagine we could subsidize food that makes us healthy instead of food that's making us sick. We say no to Monsanto controlling the FDA and telling us what kind of food is safe. We want to bring back local farmers and family farmers and community farms and community cooperatives. So we are in control of a healthy and local food supply, and we put an end to food deserts, which are a national scandal that they exist in this day and age. And we call for a right to public transportation. Low cost, affordable, high quality, convenient, renewably powered, and energy efficient. You put that all together, what does it mean? We revive the economy, we turn the tide on climate change, and we make the friggin' wars for oil obsolete. Which is a critical part of this future, this just and sustainable future. Since 2001, since we started these wars on terror, it has cost us $6 trillion. That is $75,000 on average for every American household. What could you have done with $75,000 in your household? They keep this a secret. This is why they keep voices like mine out of the debates, because we will call them on it. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, they cannot stand up to the light of day on their militarism, on their warmongering, on their waste of our precious resources. It's more than 50% of our discretionary budget that is going to these wars. But what few people know, the next biggest item in the budget is 7%, okay? 54% on the military, and then a bunch of little footnotes around it. We have a military budget which is bankrupting us economically, socially, and morally, and making us less safe, not more safe. When they ask you, how can we possibly afford free higher education? How can we afford health care for everyone as a human right? How can we afford affordable housing, not gentrification, but housing we can afford, determined by our communities? How we can afford that is that we stop squandering trillions of dollars on a war budget that is making us less safe, not more safe. Our foreign policy is nothing but a marketing strategy for the war profiteers who are sending us to war across the world, not wars that are helping anybody. And they are arming all sides. So we call for a new kind of offensive in the Middle East. We call it a peace offensive in the Middle East. We can start an arms embargo, and you know why it's so easy? It's because we're supplying the majority of the arms to everyone. And we can also tell our allies, and tell our own government for that matter, no more funding to terrorist groups. Even if we call them good terrorists today, we cannot simultaneously fight terrorism with one hand, while with the other hand we are funding terrorism, arming terrorism, and training terrorism. This began, in case you haven't heard, but you can look it up anywhere on the internet, even on Wikipedia. Where did this terrorist thing get started? In Afghanistan, that's right, Charlie Wilson's war. In Afghanistan, to fight against the Soviet Union, we created the international jihadi movement, and boy did it backfire. So we say, let's put it to bed. We started this monster. We can put an end to it by depriving it of its food, of its funding, and its weapons. Dropping more bombs and bullets, shooting up terrorism only creates the next cycle of terrorism. We need to be on that debate stage, and I urge you, please go to my website, Jill2016.com, so we can continue to work together. Miracle of miracles, if only Bernie could somehow capture that nomination. Our hearts are with him, our hearts are with you. Whatever happens, you know, my campaign is here. We are going to continue this movement. It's not going away. After these email revelations of the backstabbing and the sabotage by the DNC, by Hillary's campaign, and the collusion of the corporate media, we cannot leave it in their hands, because it's hard to have a revolutionary campaign inside of a counter-revolutionary political party. I want to leave you with one more thing. When you look out over what we can do, the political predators tell us, oh, the problems are much too complicated. We could never solve them. We can't both have an economy and jobs and save the planet. You know, that's absolutely false. We cannot have an economy unless we save the planet. The same is true for every crisis in front of us. How do we put an end to police violence? We change the culture of policing. We demilitarize the police. We create civilian review boards that have the power of subpoena and to hire and fire. And we create a national commission on truth and reconciliation so we can get down to the bottom of this problem, the crisis of racism that has not gone away since the criminal institution of slavery. And we call for reparations as a part of this discussion. We must do justice to the African American people and to the Native American people, on whose backs, on whose land, on whose labor, on whose blood, sweat, tears, creativity, vision, this country has been built. We honor the African American and indigenous communities for making what is truly great about America. America's exceptionalism is that we are a diverse nation. We are a nation from all corners of the world where we come together and affirm our common humanity. We are a movement that lifts up that common humanity with so many solutions. One last one I want to leave you with, because when people tell you that we could never possibly make a difference, we're so powerless, you know, we don't count in this discussion. Well, Bernie showed them the truth about that. This agenda of Bernie or Bust is the American agenda. It is the agenda of a human family and for the whole world. We do have the power, and one of the ways we have the power right now is by our promise as our first act when we turn the White House into a greenhouse. The very first thing that I will do if I have the honor to serve is to do for a generation of young people.
Can you pull it down just a little bit, everyone back here?
And profiteers already did for the crooks on Wall Street. We need to bail out the students holding predatory student loan debt. We do away with that debt. And we make public higher education free, along with health care, along with a welcoming path to citizenship for the immigrants who are at the core of our communities, our economy, and our culture. Where did Donald Trump come from? He came from the economic misery, and it's not just Donald Trump. It was virtually all of the presidential Republican candidates and some of the Democratic candidates, and we see it all over Europe, this right-wing extremism. Where did it come from? It is a response to the economic misery of Clinton policies like NAFTA, like deregulating Wall Street and the crash. So I just want you to stand up to that propaganda, to be strong and tell the truth. The most powerful thing we can do to stop right-wing extremism is to unify behind our agenda for a truly radical, progressive agenda for people, planet, and peace over profit. I will end saying this is not the end. This is just the beginning. We are family. We are born together with a power that is unimaginable. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much.
Before our next president steps off the stage, I just wanted to surround her with the people who have been here, that have been speaking to you. We want to show our unity. We have been going through a lot over these last few weeks, but